Hello, welcome water signs. I'm Kymmy and welcome to my channel. For any of you who are new here, I do divination readings from tarot as well as rhapsodomancy. I will not be doing any personal readings online at this time, and they will be general. So any messages that do not resonate with you, remember you have free will and use your discernment to decide what is true for you. So in honor of the full moon that went on this past weekend on Saturday, sorry, I keep moving and shaking the camera there. I feel like you're making moves that are really shaking the ground, water sign, right now. You're making ripple effects. As well as the energies from Venus entering Leo yesterday on June 5th. Remember, this is a timeless reading, so whenever you see this is when it's meant to be, divine timing. So with the energies of that, it's supposed to have oodles of creative energy as well as abundance and prosperity. And since the full moon was in Sagittarius, I wanted to do ready, aim, fire. What target goal are you reaching at this time? So definitely making big waves, big moves, ripples, and shaking the foundation of what used to exist for you, water signs. Like, you may have broken through the mold and have grown into such a beauty. Some of you may have had to break out through concrete in order to see the light of day. I don't feel like you had a very soft upbringing or soft environment. Like you grew up in a harsh environment, whether that was during childhood or your early 20s, 30s, that you had to work through. And I feel like you finally did all that trauma clearing, and you now are able to put in the work and just building yourself up. You may have felt like you were behind or you missed your wave, you know, like a surfer, and you feel like that was the perfect wave and I missed it, and you're like longing for it. But then just when you like gave up and you were like swimming to shore, ready to put your board away for the day, and in the distance you see it. You see your big wave coming through. You're making waves, you're making splashes, all that water symbolism, but still, I feel like people are going to remember your name, like how they have different hurricane. You're making a big storm, like you're coming through, you're making a name for yourself that people are gonna remember. Let's get into the cards. Ready, aim, fire. What is it that our water signs, what goal is our water signs reaching at this time? Please guide, spirit guardians, protect as we receive the most divine message of the highest good for our water signs. What goals are they reaching at this time? Okay. Some of you may be into cosplaying or fashion, whether that is due to you being a fashion creator, photographer, designer. Some of you may be into movies. A lot of shapeshifters, I feel, in this group, whether it's like that you're into shapeshifters or you're just a shapeshifter yourself. You've definitely outgrown what you used to be at the time. You used to be like hanging around in a costume and wearing a mask, and now you're like, I am the wolf. I am a part of my own pack. And you're leading it. Like before, you used to be one of the pack, and you felt like you were left out, like fading into the background and not really being a part of the story, being a part of sharing the food and the abundance. And it seems like your guides saw that and knew that you were worth seeing. Your song, your wolf song, was worth hearing, no matter which timeline it's on. And you can see now that you're shape-shifting from being that wolf that was hidden away, and being a wallflower, and you're taking the information and all the beauty that you saw being a wildflower and being that's it. You're going from being a wallflower turning into a wildflower, where you're like, I am naturally supposed to take up space. I am meant to be here as much as the next, and I'm going to take up room, and I'm going to howl at the moon my song because she deserves to hear it. And yes! I especially love how, like, there's not only the moon, there's also the owl there. Some of you may work with the moon phases, or looking into start working with the moon phases, like, whether it's making moon water with the water here and the crystal on top of the wand, staff or wand. You could be into making your own crystals, cleansing them underneath the moon, or a lot of cleansing of your spiritual energy and area. Definitely cloaking yourself when you go out from other people's areas. But yeah, with the symbolism from the owls and the deer, I definitely feel like Hecate and Artemis, as well as the Fates, as well as Loki. Some of you may have enjoyed White Fang when growing up as well. Or Balto, where Balto went from being like an outcast, not part of anyone, kind of just had it off in the distance and only had those two polar bears to have and call his family, and the goose taking care and overseeing. But in the end, Volta was decorated and celebrated, and I feel like that's what's happening for you. The people who may have not celebrated you when they should have will now get to see you be celebrated by people who genuinely care. And a lot of you, that may be including putting up boundaries. That's why you could be cloaking yourself, putting up boundaries to not let those people who ignored you and put you down in the past be a part of your abundance, as you can see with the fruitfulness and the glowing of your bright future being birthed from your passion and your creativity. Can we get one more card pull for our wonderful water signs, please? Because this is beautiful. Birthing your new self, ruling in harmony of nature. A lot of you may be working in the yard or doing gardening, passing on your intrinsical wisdom. So you're taking all that wisdom that you did learning from being on your own and applying it to others who may feel like they feel alone, and letting them know that it will be okay and they will also be able to grow from this. Some of you may be into making wands or doing woodworking. I find a lot of your guides work through you, through your creations, or ancestors. If you don't believe in the spiritual realms, then your support team of individuals amongst your social group. So the last card that jumped out on the floor is exploring your inner landscape, as I was saying earlier, with like you're learning what foundation is stable for you. You're finding out what is stable within environments and who you can trust to be solid with you, while also going with the flow. So being aware that there are, people who may have the evil eye and may not want the bestest intentions for you. You know that they exist, but you're not letting them stop you from exploring and having a good time. Whether or not this is like the evil eye from people who may be jealous, whether that's family or friends, not all friends and family are for you. It could also be that you're not allowing the reflection of past bullying, whether that's from yourself or others, get in the way of you catching that big wave that is coming in. You remember the symbol that I used at the beginning about how you wanted to catch that big wave, and you're waiting, and you're like, I haven't missed my wave yet. There will always be more waves for me to catch. And that intrusive inner critic is not gonna get me down. I'm not gonna let it boil over and become a dragon volcano in the midst of me creating my own island. I will take that lava and I will cool it off and create islands of friends and myself. Because underwater volcanoes end up being, main reason of why islands are created in the first place. They erupt, and then the rubble and the lava cools off and turns into an island. And over time, you may feel like you're desolated and you are of nothing to be proud of yet. But over time, that island gets created with more plants, and eventually birds come and land. Like with New Zealand, it was originally underwater, and over time it came up over water, and the birds flew there and stayed, and that's how they got kiwis. Some of you may be eating kiwis or enjoy birds. But yeah, over time there were species, and eventually even humans made their way there. So it's not impossible for you to be fruitful, and you know this now, and you're creating your own inner landscape and ruling with yourself in harmony, and realizing that it's natural to have these different cycles of emotion, but it all depends on how you respond not only to yourself, but how you respond to yourself after, whether or not you treat yourself with grace or self-compassion, whether or not you're willing to... Baby! Kitty wants attention. Yeah, your pets might want attention. You might want attention from nature. You might be getting attention from nature. Sorry, I don't mean to shake the desk. From me moving all over the place. Some of you might be getting moving, more natural flowing of movements, exercising, going out on hikes. That's also another way to shake up your inner body and inner critic. Yes, some of you may enjoy islands or history of islands and love how the different parts of nature work together, geography as well as weather patterns. So a lot of you may be looking into clouds right now with aeromancy, which is a type of divination used from looking at different figures and creations inside of the clouds, especially with the dragon looking like it's in the cloud shape here. A lot of the symbolism could be from under the sea, like you could be seeing a lot of fish, crab shapes, dragons, phoenixes, deers, and owls, bird shapes in the sky. as well as like wolves or dolphins. Just a lot of symbolism. Mushroom cloud. Well, that's not usually a good thing, but a lot of you may be in war-torn places, and you're really learning how to trust your own inner judgment and the nature of regrowing and rebuilding of societies, and knowing that the dragon of war won't interrupt your flow and abundance because you have love within your heart. For any of those who are in those situations, I couldn't possibly begin to understand, but I do know that I have a lot of love in my heart, and I hope all of you are safe and sound as soon as possible. All right. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate it, and I hope you had a wonderful full moon energy. And so remember, you can still charge them, as it's the 3 days before and 3 days after if you wanted to charge or create moon water. And that's everything. Remember to eat, hydrate, and have fun. Bye now.